Rafael Fiziev, man, he's come a long way, even with that loss to Justin Gaethje. I think one thing that he solidified for sure is that he's on the cusp of being one of those top 4, top 5 fighters. Well, AJ, what are these guys fighting for? Number 6 versus number 7. Somebody has got to eventually end up in this upper echelon, right? Be those guys that are next in line for the title shot. Maybe not 1 fight away, maybe not 2, but somewhere in that range. Striker versus grappler. AJ, what do you think about this matchup?
I mean, you laid it out in the beginning, Derek, kind of that classic striker versus grappler match we used to see back all the way at the beginnings of UFC. But you're right. There's more nuance to this one because these guys are the full-rounded mixed martial artists. Yeah, Fiziev might be the more technical striker. He's the kickbox instructor. And as well as, like you said, Mateusz Gamrot, 80 ACC. I forgot, I just butchered the acronym, but you're the jiu-jitsu guy, Derek. You know it exactly. But none to say, man. Mateusz Gamrot is a very dangerous grappler, but he's also a really good striker as well, man. He has the abilities and the knowledge to kind of get things done. We'll see if it ends up being that classic match 'em up of these two. But I want to tackle what you were saying before, Derek. What are these guys fighting for? Yeah, that number 5 spot does look real juicy. You know, it's very tantalizing if you're one of these guys coming up with a mix of how stagnant that top ranking of the lightweight has been. But I think it's all a little bit more of acknowledgement or recognition, if you will, for these fighters, showing the rest of the fan base that they're able to break into that and be held as one of the top dogs. I think that's a little bit more valuable than just a number next to your name. I mean, the number helps, don't get me wrong. It does kind of provide that acknowledgement for the casual fans, but the hardcores know these guys have been working their way up the rungs, up the ladder to really scratch and claw their way to the top. And now's the proving ground. Now's the time to actually make that big impact on the fight scene. Do you think it's the same kind of value prop going right there for him? And 2, do you think we're going to see a technical strike right here, a technical showdown? Or is this going to be kind of a mix-em-up brawl because these guys are so technical both directions? What do you think?
I mean, a lot to unpack right there. I will say this. At the end of the day, these guys, I think that more than anything, they're living up to the original hype that they came into the UFC with, really, man. Fiziev was super hyped up, lost his debut to Mustafayev in his debut. So, that was neither here nor there, right? Rattled off a long win streak after. Gamrot, a lot of guys, even though he lost to Guram Kutateladze in the beginning too, right? A lot of these guys were like, these are the guys, they're going to be fighting for the championship. And, years later, not really that many years later, but these years later, here they are, right? So will this be a technical matchup? I think this will absolutely be a technical matchup because that's the best path to victory for both guys. Rafael Fiziev strings and weaves together his combination so beautifully in such a way that if you go into a brawling type opportunity, I think you're just going to get clipped by this guy. But Gamrot has such technical grappling capacities that he could really stall a lot of that offense of a Rafael Fiziev. I think the big question right here, to get deeper into that same paradigm, I guess, single legs. Mateusz Gamrot does a lot of his work by starting with a single and then kind of using that to transfer to another maneuver. He strings together his grappling attempts. It never really ends after the first attempt, right? Will that single leg be enough for Rafael Fiziev to freeze his offense, just as I was mentioning? Because that happens a lot, and we underestimate it. But then again, there's that window of danger of you go for the single, you get caught going for the single, and you don't have an opportunity to string them together. Kind of loaded question, but what do you think?
No, I agree with you, Derek. That's the best option for Mateusz Gamrot right here going into this. If he wants to put this fight on his grounds, he's going to need to be shooting for the single leg. He's going to need to be stifling the attack of Fiziev. Now, the thing is, Fiziev, he likes to brawl. He's down for brawl. He may not like it. It seems like he does in his fights. He's smiling. He's excited. The brawl's going down. He's happy as can be. But when that is going on, I mean, Fiziev is no stranger to stepping toe-to-toe and swinging it out, but that's when Gamrot is going to have his best opportunity to duck under, get to that single leg. And that right there, that little entrance or that middle ground of these two fighters, that's where I'm curious to see how this fight unloads. Whoever is able to control that chaos of that middle action, that's going to be who's the one's going to find the most success in this fight right here. Now, if Fiziev is able to get in that mix and then back up on out and not allow Gamrot to get close, get the hands on the hips, or even, like you said, get that single leg and get the work to the takedown, then Fiziev's going to find some ability. But honestly, Derek, I'm a little worried on this one, man. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop that because Gamrot has such good pressure fighting going forward. If Gamrot is able to put Fiziev on the back foot, I don't know if we're going to see as much output as Fiziev has shown in the past. He's definitely that very technical striker, and he's able to get in those brawls. But do you find him finding success in that middle, in that mix him up like we're talking about, Derek? Or is Gamrot a little more valuable in that mix him up? What do you think?
One thing that we definitely saw in Gamrot's last outing, and it was a stark difference in opposition, but against Jalen Turner, was closing that distance is not quite as easy as it seems, especially when you have a really skilled striker in front of you. Now, Fiziev doesn't enjoy a 5-inch reach and height advantage like Jalen Turner did. But the difference is his skill set in terms of his striking is so phenomenal. I think there's going to be very little room for error to shoot without setting up your shots for Gamrot. So I think Gamrot will not be able to have success in his grappling unless he sets it up with his striking. That's the problem. If you have to engage in the striking with Fiziev, you're in for a world of hurt. And we've seen this time and time again. It was a very close fight with Justin Gaethje. It'd be criminal to say that Justin Gaethje smoked him, because he didn't. But he did beat him. The right man did win. And Rafael Fiziev, with that loss, it makes me wonder how much is he going to grow. Because, listen, you're fighting another southpaw. This southpaw does not carry nearly the amount of danger on the feet that Justin Gaethje did. But you do have to admit, Mateusz Gamrot is a very talented finisher. Believe it or not, man, all of his finishes do not come by submission, even though we would think, oh, leg locks, heel hooks, all Kimuras, all that type of stuff. He has that, right? And as of late, we've seen some stuff like that. But he finishes people, man. And I wonder if he gets Rafael Fiziev down, can he keep him there? Rafael Fiziev, quick stat. He's been taken down 3 times in his UFC tenure. All 3 takedowns have happened in the last 3 fights that he's had, right? Justin Gaethje, Rafael dos Anjos, Brad Riddell. He won 2 of those 3 fights, and that Justin Gaethje takedown was really just like a third round, last-ditch effort takedown, seal the fight, right? So my question to you is Gamrot the level of fighter that Brad Riddell, RDA, Justin Gaethje is to actually get him down if nobody else has been able to do it? Mark Chikasi couldn't, Renato Moicano, Bobby Green, Alex White, none of these guys could. What do you think?
In my opinion, Derek, and I'm hoping I'm going to eat some crow if this is the case that happens when we have our accountability hour in the next show. But I don't think Gamrot is that kind of fighter in order to get those. And don't get me wrong, I do think he has the ability once he gets to the ground to be able to do some moves and to be able to work in. But in that mix him up, in that middle ground, I don't think he has the technical proficiency in order to provide a threat to Fiziev. And I only say that because Fiziev has seen it all, done it all, and with some of the baddest men in the octagon, in the organization, and having that kind of, not curriculum, but having that kind of background in the fight, in that style, I think is going to weigh massive for Fiziev's favor going forward. Like you said, Derek, I'm curious to see how well he's going to grow in this, because that's what I think is going to be the hardest part for Gamrot to really get inside. Setting it up, setting the takedown, throwing the hands, throwing the legs, and then set that takedown up so that way Fiziev doesn't see it. Having Fiziev not see it is my biggest hang-up right there for Gamrot. What do you think? What's the easiest way for Gamrot to get in there and set something up? Because to me, Derek, it's going to be after that 4-punch combo, maybe a leg kick, something like that. But get Fiziev thinking up top while you're going underground, getting that leg, taking him down. I think Derek. I think Fiziev can get back up after the takedown. I don't know. What do you think?
I think Fiziev has great hips. I think he'll be able to sprawl if he sees anything coming. So the only way that you don't see it coming is you got to be willing to eat one in order to get the takedown. The problem is, can you survive eating one? I don't know. So let's kind of mix up the conversation. Let's talk about these odds, man. For Mateusz Gamrot, if you are betting on the live dog, if you think he is that, there's really only 2 props I think you should be concerning yourself with. And believe it or not, I don't think submission is one of them. I think it's that plus 285 decision or that plus 800 TKO. Have a hard time seeing him submitting Rafael Fiziev, but I can see him getting him in a spot where maybe you just can't get up. You're locked in some crazy position. You got your arm handcuffed, and then you're just getting your face beaten. You can't respond to the referee, and then you get TKO'd. I can see that in the realm of possibilities. I'm not betting on that one, but what do you think about those odds?
I like him, Derek. I mean, the plus 800, I can see it because of the chaos that Fiziev's going to present as well. He's not going to be backing down from the fight, even if Fiziev's on the back foot. So I can see where that chaos can kind of come in, and we're looking for that TKO on Gamrot's side. I was honestly the one that's most, I think, likely to happen if I'm a Gamrot bettor right here is that plus 135 money line, because he has multiple ways to get it done. The chaos that can come from this fight, it's going to present themselves opportunities. And we saw it last week. You can't take just because somebody's so good at submissions for the fact that they won't take the easy knockout or the decision or the technical win. So I like that money line bet. But if you're going for Gamrot, that's what I'm looking at, if not the decision, because Fiziev's going to be a very hard fighter to put away. What do you think on the other end, Derek? That plus 150 TKO, that's where my eyes go right away for Fiziev, just because of his technical proficiency. But at the same point, Gamrot is also a very hard guy to put away. I mean, you look at both of his losses in the last 9. Hasn't had all his losses are by decision. One of them's a split, one of them's unanimous to Benny Dariush. That plus 285, do you see a lot of value in that decision for Fiziev?
100%, man. I think it's very clear cut. I like Rafael Fiziev. I like him by decision in this fight. It worries me a little bit because Gamrot's 5-round fights have been against higher opposition fighters than Rafael Fiziev. So we have Arman Sarukian in the camp of Gamrot. For Fiziev, you had RDA. You knocked him out in the 5th round. Not quite the same fighter as Arman Sarukian, who really pushed the pace on Islam Makhachev. All right, let's close this one out, man. I like Fiziev by decision. I think it's pretty clear in this one. It's going to be a good back and forth affair. You like Fiziev as well. AJ, anything else to add?
I like Fiziev, and I like the decision because of how technical this fight's going to go. Don't blink, folks. The finish could happen, but I think we're in store for the long one. It's going to be a lot of fun, though.
That's right. Fair play. Good main event on deck right here. Like I said, folks, this is the future of the lightweight division, so you definitely should keep your eyes peeled.